Well, we'll see. Seems like every time I get to another location, it goes on the phone. I just tracked it from the agenda. Came up.
You can put a stick of dynamite down there.
John, hey, how you doing? Okay. So that's it. You've been spending a lot of time.
Yes, I just ran from there.
As always.
Right, right. Yeah, I know. This is needed. Just a little rushed, you know. I'm okay.
How you doing?
Yeah, okay. Wow.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for coming to the regular scheduled meeting of the Lincoln Parish School Board. Today is Tuesday, November 4th at 2025. It's 12 p.m. We're going to start the meeting today with an invocation by Miss Linda Henderson and the Pledge of Allegiance by Ahmad Warren. So if you would, rise for me, or with me, I should say.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you this afternoon thanking you for you being you. Lord, we thank you for your Holy Spirit and your Son, Jesus. Lord, we thank you for the leading guidance that you lead and guide us with every day. And Lord, we ask you to lead and guide each and every board member today and to vote the right way that will promote all of our children, each and every child in Lincoln Parish. And Lord, we ask for the blessing upon our board members, our staff, and our administrators, our superintendent, and everyone. And we ask for all these blessings in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Attention, what is it on? Okay. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I don't know.
I can see over it.
Hey, Nick, are we on? We're good? Thank you. Okay, so, members of the board, hopefully you've had a chance to see the agenda that was prepared for us today. If I would take a motion that we approve the motion or the agenda as presented.
So moved.
So moved. Thank you, Debbie. Do I have a second? Second. Donna Doss? Sorry. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Thank you. We'll go back to the minutes. If you would, hopefully you've had a chance to review the minutes from last meeting from October. I would accept a motion that we approve those minutes unless there's corrections needed to be made.
So moved.
So moved. Thank you, sir. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Hunter. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Okay. Mr. Crow.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Wendell Crow, and I am proud to serve as the principal here at I.E. Lewis, home of the Rams, where we are responsible, approachable, motivated, and successful. Let me begin by saying how truly excited we are to have you here on our campus today. When I was named principal last spring, I could hardly wait to meet our incoming students. And now that I've had the privilege of spending the first 9 weeks with them, I'm even more optimistic about the bright future ahead for our young leaders. We have an incredibly smart and talented group of students here at I.E. Lewis, many of whom took part in the preparations for this meeting. The tours that were given were led by members of our For All Ram Kind group. You may have noticed the notes that were left at your seated areas. Those were written by some of our GT students. And I'm also proud to introduce Mr. Ahmad Warren, who just led us in the pledge, who currently serves as our Student of the Year and our 4-H Vice President. As you can see, there are so many great things happening here at I.E. Lewis, and we know none of it would be possible without the support of all of you. So thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you for everything that you will continue to do. And again, welcome to I.E. Lewis.
Thank you. What's that? I'm sorry?
So that's not a microphone for you.
They can't hear anything.
The microphones are actually for the stream. They're not for the speakers that are in here. They're for the stream, for the live stream.
Hey, there is more room down here if you guys would like to
Tell
move.
if you
so-
can't hear, you can't hear. No matter where you move, if you can't hear, you won't hear. Let's move to something else.
All right. We'll try to speak loud enough for you to hear. You are so welcome. Absolutely. Okay, I did want to take just a moment to acknowledge that Mr. Otha Anders was not able to attend because he is at some doctor visits, and Clark is not here because he's out of town. And so otherwise, I just wanted to make that motion, that notice. Okay, so is there any unfinished business before this board before we move on? I don't believe there is. All right, let's move on to item 7.1 of new business, to consider the reconfiguration of the Ruston City Elementary Schools. Before we move forward, I would ask, if you do want to speak, we absolutely are open up the mic for you, or the mic for others, but make sure that you speak loudly and tell us your name when you come forward, and let us know if you're in favor or against the motion, and then you'll be able to speak and give your thoughts. Is that fair? Okay. So we would take up item number 7.1 to consider the reconfiguration of the Ruston City Elementary Schools. Mr. Durrett.
Okay, so the following proposal was presented at the October board meeting. It is recommended that we move forward with the reconfiguration of the elementary schools in the city of Ruston. This reconfiguration would take effect beginning the 26-27 school year. The proposed plan would establish Ruston Elementary, Hillcrest Elementary, Glenview Elementary, and Cypress Springs Elementary as pre-K to 5 schools. The current pre-K center would be repurposed to house the Lincoln Parish School Board central office, allowing for the consolidation of district operations such as transportation, maintenance, child nutrition, special education, and pupil appraisal. Today, we are asking the board to grant permission to move forward with the reconfiguration plan for the Ruston City Elementary Schools as we've outlined at the October board meeting and today. And this will be effective for the 26-27 school year.
Thank you. So that is the extent of the changes that were proposed by Hunt Gio. Despite some other rumors that were out there, that is the extent of the changes that are being made. So I would take a motion, if there is one, to approve the reconfiguration of the Ruston City Elementary Schools as presented.
So moved.
You have to do public comments.
After the motion. We got to approve the motion first. So we're not voting on it. We're just taking the motion.
Do we have a comment we can make before we take this vote?
Will before the vote.
There's a motion on the floor, so I need a
We
second.
ain't had no motion yet. I said, can I speak?
He made a motion.
I second
Okay.
that motion.
We have a second right there by Mr. Hancock. So I do have a motion on the floor that we can now consider. So I would open the floor for comments from the public. We'll take them right there at the podium. Mr. Bill Smith is.
My name is Bill Smith, and I live at 1512 Branston Street. That is my address. The Lincoln Parish School Board, I think, go into things blindly. There's not a lot of thought given to almost anything. You know, I told this board back when you build a school over by Lincoln High School, that was not going to work. You flipped it around and flipped it around, and it still didn't work. I don't know how you and why you put money into the STEM building over there, and it appears that it's been used for everything other than what it was designed for. When you asked for the tax not too long ago, you were thoroughly beat that time around. You came back and did some things, and you finally got what you asked for. My whole point is you back here now wanting to do something that just a few years ago was a new thing, a new toy, whatever it was that you wanted to play with. Here we are back here now wanting to change it back to the way it used to be. If you would make your mind up as to what it is you're asking to do, you might get some help from some of us. But all we do is hear about some undercover stuff going on, and nobody is really wanting to say anything about what's really happening. Let's stop. This would be a good time to stop and do some planning. Give us a 5 or 10 year plan that you would like to see done. Let us get it in the community and mess with it and come back and discuss it with you. But as long as you are trying to do things this way, we're gonna ask board members to vote against it. And that's what I'm here doing this noonday, is asking this board to vote everything down that concerns with the reconfiguration of the elementary schools and whatever goes with it. Thank you, sir and ma'am. Our board, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Richard Anderson, 207 Meredith Lane, Ruston, Louisiana, 71270. Like the speaker mentioned before, I'm a big fan of the Lincoln Parish School Board. Let's make that perfectly clear from the beginning. But as a brother, as a family member to others, if I don't mention this, then we're doing each other disservice. The Lincoln Parish School Board committed a grave mistake on the April 27, 2024 bond proposal by misinforming the electorate about the student academic population. Positive growth emphasized the need for facility upgrades. As John Wayne would have it when he was with us on this earth, he can accept personal shortcomings, but not deception. This revised system necessitates immediate tabling, as it requires further communication with the general public. A series of public hearings engaging diverse communities is crucial before proceeding to a public vote on the ballot. This redistricting plan is unacceptable and will fail inevitably unless we can guarantee that it will impact student achievement. The current situation needs to be looked at, and we need to make sure that we are first meeting the students' needs. I express disappointment, in all due respect, to the current superintendent approach, which mirrors the lack of transparency observed in the April 27, 2024 bond proposal. In all due respect, sir. To uphold credibility, transparency must be our guiding principle going forward. I strongly advise tabling this proposal and calling for a more suitable alternative. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Vita Emerson. I'm not a parent, but I'm a grandparent of several students in the Lincoln Parish school system. I too am disappointed in how this has been handled. As I've stated to several of our school board members, number one, how many of us take the Ruston Daily Leader? I feel like this was all backdoored to keep us uninformed so that you could do what you want when you want. I totally disagree. I have a problem even saying the pledge these days because this is no longer the United States of America. Lincoln Parish shows me that, Lincoln Parish School Board shows me that daily. You are not concerned about all the people. I have been in this city all my life, in and out, and I've shared with some of the school board members. I had a son that attended the Lincoln Parish schools in kindergarten, right here. He had an inadequate teacher because it was all black kids over here, and it was a reject that he had. He came home with 100% on papers and couldn't read, didn't know phonics. I moved him to A. Phillips. In less than one grading period, he was on track. I'm saying that to say this, that's why I fight for all. And when parents are concerned, I can understand this moving from one school to the other, but if you think back to the 60s, how far we, black people, had to be bused to get to school. But nobody cared about that. I'm not saying it's good to be bused, but if that's what it takes for us to get an equal quality education, then that's what we need to do. My second thing is, when I was here last year for some meeting, and you talked about, Mr. Superintendent, phase 2. And I asked what was phase 2. You didn't know. It was being worked, you were getting some group to do it. I read in the paper again, phase 2. We need to know what phase 2 is. You start something, you change your mind, you go a different direction, and it's our tax dollars. And you don't mind spending our money, but you don't want us to be considered in what you do. So I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I plan to voice my opinion everywhere I go. And I pray that you, the school board members, would think twice before you vote. Because if you are concerned about all children and everybody's education, you will know this is not the way to go at this time. There needs to be more talking, more community meetings to get the public involved. Thank you.
My name is Evelyn Cooper, address 419 Groveland Avenue here in Ruston. And I do have some notes on my phone. Again, I do ask the board to not make a final decision at this time because the public, the community, does not have enough knowledge of phase 1. We need to know what's going on. We need to not be, as they say, need things done behind closed doors. Okay, so I was listening. I was not at the last board meeting, but I did listen to it. It talked about, this would be a good move based on transitions. However, I choose to say that students have to transition all of the time. They have to transition not just physically, this would be a physical transition, but students have to transition mentally, emotionally. So transitioning is a part of life. We have to teach students to be resilient so that when transitions take place, they can float smoothly into those transitions. Also, after listening to the board meeting, I did hear about the partnership with the Boys and Girls Club. Now, I love the Boys and Girls Club. My grandchildren went to the Boys and Girls Club, and they're waiting on a spot to get in right now. So I love the Boys and Girls Club. So it's okay to partner with them, but my concern was that it was noted by the gentleman that they were thinking about doing tutoring at the Boys and Girls Club. Okay, now maybe you all can enlighten us a little bit more on that, but, and that the teachers didn't want the people to use their classrooms for after-school tutoring. Well, my question is it the teacher's classroom or does it belong to Lincoln Parish School Board? Because we're supposed to be here for the students. And to move those students to the Boys and Girls Club when they could be in their school is a transition. So we're moving them somewhere else. The other question is, just say, for example, if they go to the Boys and Girls Club for tutoring, are we going to have highly certified and qualified instructors? Are the students going to be prepared for the LEAP test? Are the students going to be prepared for academic success day to day in their classrooms? Those are my questions. Again, I love the Boys and Girls Club. I have nothing absolutely against them. But I don't think, and I'm a 41-year educator who just retired about a year ago, I don't think a teacher should have that right or that option to choose not to embrace students to come to school, but to push them away from the school. They should not have that option. All right, I have some more things on my list. Let's see. Another key issue is that by redrawing the lines, again, we're not clear on where the lines will be. How would that affect the students? We do not want to go backwards to where we were when the Department of Justice came in and said that the students were so segregated. I understand we're past that. However, if we move things backwards, we're right back there again, okay? So, I understand we're supposed to look at the socioeconomic status of the students and the communities. You say it will save money. Students can get up later if they go to school in their own community. I understand that too. However, we're looking for students to have a quality education, whatever school they are in. We do not want to get reject teachers, uncertified teachers, unqualified teachers into these schools because they don't want to be bothered with some of the things or some of the challenges that might come with the job. So again, I say to you, we're not ready for a decision today. I hope you all see that we are not ready to make that decision. We're talking about the boys and girls of Lincoln Parish. We're saying the Ruston schools. Now, we don't want to overload the schools because when you overload the schools, you know that reduces the amount of individual instruction that students get. It's also going to have students not performing to their maximum potential because the teacher is just one person. Now, I did also hear that, by closing some schools, you all could save money on administration. I've been in that role too. So it's going to put extra pressure on the teachers the larger the class size is. It's going to put extra pressure on the administration the larger students you have when you really don't have to do that. So again, I'm saying, let's think twice, 3 times, or 4 times, whatever you need to, before we consider voting on that today. I have one more point. What I did see after I looked at all the phases, I looked at the phase 1, scenario 1, phase 1, scenario 2, phase 1, scenario 3, phase 1, scenario 4. The common denominator that I saw in each one of these was to move the school board office. So I say to you, if you want to move the school board office, don't affect our children. Move the school board office. Our kids are entitled to a quality, fair, equal, equitable education. Thank you all so much.
Good afternoon. My name is Mary Inez Hackney Moore. I live at 515 Edgewood Street in Ruston. I'm very heartbroken and saddened to know that the school board is willing to dismiss the real reason that our children was put in different class groups. If I'm mistaken, correct me. This desegregation, part of it was to separate our kids, and that's why we have the classrooms that we have now. We have children that have problems, and it's mainly because most classes are over flooding already. Most teachers does not have enough help in the classroom. We have issues that we need to bring to the table before we start transitioning, before we start combining. We need to come together as a group that's real concerned about our children, that's real concerned about our administrators' job, our teachers, our workers. It is very unfair for us to segregate after we've been integrated. So let's go back to the drawing board and find out, what's your real reason for changing the classrooms? What's the real reason? Why do we separate them? I've heard that some parents are complaining because they have to go to one school and pick up another child, or they're in the right district. Why they can't ride the bus? So I don't know who's over transportation, but I ask that you check and make sure that these parents that are complaining, they're in the district, so the school bus can drop them off and pick them up if they are working parents. And then we do need after-school tutoring. Our children are lacking. And it needs to be at the school that they attend so they'll have the correct technology, because everybody is going A1 and we need to get ready for A1. That should be our first chapter, A1. We need to be educating all across the board with A1 because it's here. It's not tomorrow, it's today. Also, we need to find out what our teachers really think anonymously. They don't have to sign their name on anything. Get a opinion from the teachers across the board. It don't have to be their name on it. Just get something and let them see you feel how they feel. How many times you been in the classroom when so many teachers are having behavior problems, to observe, to see what's going on? This is not the answer. It never will, and it definitely won't, as long as we have a vote. Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Terrence Flukas, and I want to address what's going on today. I'm always troubled when we're trying to fix something that's not broken. Because when you start fixing on systems that are not broken, all you do is break them. And based on what I've seen with the Lincoln Parish schools, I haven't seen anything that's seriously broken where it needs to be fixed. Our children are thriving, they're doing well. Why break something that's already working well on our children's behalf? Because when you try to fix on it, all you do is continue to break it again and again and again. And also, the people who are in this room right now are obviously concerned about what's going to take place. And to vote yes or no without considering the feelings of these people in this room is a shame on this school board. Because the community has not had adequate time to digest, to consider, to look over what the school board is getting ready to do. And to vote yes or no without considering their feelings is a shame, and it's a crime, and we all should be ashamed of ourselves. Thank you.
Good afternoon, President Phillips and members of the board. My name is Liz White, and I've spent over 3 decades of my life in Lincoln Parish as a teacher, a taxpayer, a neighbor, and someone who cares deeply about the children who walk into our schools every morning. I know each of you serves on the board because you care too. You want safe, strong schools and a fair shot for every child. That's what unites us. I understand the appeal of neighborhood schools. They sound simple, familiar, close to home. But our neighborhoods still reflect the lines drawn long ago. Lines of race and income that none of us created, but that still shape opportunity. If we zone strictly by geography, we risk dividing our children once again, not by law, but by circumstance. I don't believe any one of you on this board desires that. Instead, I urge you to look at options that keep opportunity open to all. Magnet programs, and perhaps, as Pastor Flukas just suggested, the pairing system. Options that draw students from every corner of our parish. Or zoning plans that balance enrollment and diversity. I taught before integration. I know what separate schools look like. And I know how powerful it is when children learn together. They discover that they have more in common than anyone ever told them. Let's not lose that progress. Let's choose a plan that keeps Lincoln Parish moving forward. One community, one school system, one future for every child. Thank you for your time and for your service to our parish.
My name is Judith Howard, and I want to begin by thanking all of you board members for your service to this community. I know this issue is not an easy one. The only thing I know about it is what I've read in the paper, and from that, it sounds like there is a concern about transportation, and that bus routes are complicated and children have to get up earlier because of the different schools. And I understand that's a legitimate concern. The other thing that I read in the paper is that you were doing this because you saw a study, I think from Texas, that children who transition less often perform better. And when I read that, I thought, surely they're not going to make a decision based on one study without knowing what other variables were considered in that study. I also thought about when I was in first grade, I was at Hillcrest. When I was in second grade, I was transferred to Eastland. When I was in third grade, I was transferred to Ruston Elementary, and we never moved. but I was in 3 different schools in 3 different years. I don't think it hurt me. I was able to be successful academically. I've taught in college. I don't have experience teaching in elementary schools, so I can't speak from that perspective. But I can say, when I went through Lincoln Parish schools, they were segregated. It wasn't until I was somewhere along in college that I was ever in class with a student from any other race. When I taught college, I had students from all races. And I can tell you it's beneficial to society for children to get to know each other from different backgrounds. We have a more united country when that's the case. And it concerns me that based on transportation complications, we're going to end up with segregated schools again. And I don't think that's beneficial to our city or our parish or our country. So my plea, I guess, is that this not be so rushed to make a decision. This is so important that we need more information about what studies you're basing these decisions on, and what the implications might be. I guess I urge you to take some more time before you make such drastic changes. Thank you.
Drip. Good afternoon, everybody. I don't think I have to introduce myself, but I want to let you know that the research-based strategy we heard, I haven't received any evidence or proof it will work. And that's one of the problems I have with it, you know. And then this configuration of schools not going to work because the diversity in the schools going to be right back in federal court again because there's no way possible they're going to make it out. But my thing is, we jump into conclusions again, and our main concern is the education of these children. And buses, hell, don't educate nobody. You can ride down on that bus, it's not going to teach you to read, math, science, or social studies. But you're comfortable because you can go to one school. Teachers drive the education of these kids in these classrooms, not buses. If we put as much money into the education of these children as we did in athletics, we all could read. But we need to put more money into classroom instructions, give them more professional development, and stop putting money in athletics. These kids are better than to go out on Friday night and play a football game, and they superstars on Friday night, but they back to reality on Monday. Hell, we need to do what's right, and this is not right. If you're going to do something, you put money in the education of these kids and where they are. Remember, we didn't decide to go K2 and 3-5. It was done because of racial barriers in each school. Now you're going right back to where you started. If you're going to fuel something, fuel the education of these kids. You know, we sit here and we make a decision, but do we base it on the needs of these kids or what we think? The thinking part is the education of these children. We adults, we already did our thing. Now let them do theirs and learn. You know, because right now, we need help. And the help is not there. And we got to put more into our kids. They the future. We're not going to be here forever. Then prepare them for the future. They bringing all these businesses here. Well, who gonna have man the job if we can't read? Can't comprehend nothing. That is the concern. If we stop, our personal opinions ain't worth a dime. Everybody got an opinion. But the main thing is the education of these children. I don't care where you come from. And I've been in this business 52 years. I've been principal of every grade except 1, 2, and 3. And I know what fuel education is. It's that classroom and that teacher and the money you put in it. You don't put nothing in it, you're gonna get nothing from it. And all the people that's here, retired teachers, know when you walk in that classroom, you're responsible for every kid in there. But making, you know, like I said, this not gonna fuel no kind of way, no how, if we don't put money into these kids. And if you're gonna do a research-based strategy, then have the proof it'll work. If you're gonna do a survey, damn, it's 21,500 people in the Ruston district, and we got 1,800. 13, whatever, one way, the other way, and you're gonna say 80% of the people? I don't think that's 80%. I think you did a poor job with the survey, man. You didn't get enough input. But when you run with a statistic, you can make it sound any way you want to. But I'm gonna take my seat, because more I talk, angrier I get.
Any other public comment? I'm not sure that counted as a public comment right there, but that was, no, I'm talking about the grunt part, not the part you're in.
The grunt part is old age.
Good, thank you.
Hi, my name's Beth Foster. We have 4 kids who attend 3 of our city schools. We've been in Glenview and Cypress Springs and currently at Ruston Junior High. My kids have attended school in the public schools since LPEC, and all 4 of them have received excellent educations. My husband and I are very proud of them and how hard they've worked. We have loved their teachers and have had great experiences in our schools. I just want to speak as a parent. I also am a former educator. I taught in Lincoln Parish for 7 years and was a part of the transition the first time, 10 years ago. And so I would happily welcome anyone here who would love to ride with me in the morning and see what it's like to bring kids to 3 different schools and then pick them up in the car lines in the afternoon. It is quite an adventure, for sure. But we've done it because it's important, and it is important for us and for our kids that we are able to do that. And so we've made that a priority. But it definitely has come with its difficulties and transitions. I do want to speak as a teacher and as a parent who has had to transition kids every few years to multiple schools. It is hard. I have one kid who really struggles with transitions, and so having to be creative in how we navigate those has been hard. And so I am a proponent that the least transitions that we can have for our kids, I think the better they will for it. As someone who also is very heavily involved in our schools, I work very closely with our teachers at Cypress Springs as a part of the PTC and have very good relationships with all those people. They are putting in the work, and they work and do an amazing job. As far as our administrators as well, like I couldn't sing their praises more than they do. But our kids, it is not a loss for them to be a part of something that is along with their siblings. Like my kids have lost out being able to support each other throughout the years in their elementary school because they're at different schools, and we believe in family and we believe in supporting one another. And so when they can't do that because We're at all different schools. This week, 2 of my kids participated in the student council at Cypress Elementary. And so because my other kids wanted to go support their siblings in their campaign speeches, they were late for school because we had to go and watch them and then bring them halfway across town to the other schools. So there's give and take. Like, there are good things and there are bad things. My favorite thing about being a part of the schools that we have is the relationships that my kids have made with their friends. And that is the saddest thing to me, to think about if we were to separate schools, like, they would lose some of those friendships. But seeing them come back together at I. Lewis in the junior high, like, they're not being separated. Like, and I just highly encourage anyone who can speak to this issue that, like, have you stepped into our schools? Are you in the classrooms? Do you have relationship with the teachers and the administrators? Like, that's important and I think valuable as well. So I just want to speak for the other side, I think, as a parent and as someone who has kids that are involved in the schools. So thank you for your time.
Anyone else? Anyone else from the public? Seeing none? Any comments or questions from the board members?
Yeah, don't we supply bus transportation to every kid in the system? I think it's a choice to pick your kid up at 3 different schools. Like this, we spent $100,000 to air condition them for what? Hell, you have a choice. So that's not a consideration of mine. You have a choice. Well,
and for my kids to get off the bus, they would have been dropped off before I could get home.
There you go.
And that was not something we were comfortable with as a family.
But one of the things I'd like to see done is, I'd like to see them do an analysis of LPEC and see how effective it is in the system. You can compare the kids that went to LPEC versus those that didn't go to LPEC and see what we need to do to move K through 3 forward, or K through 5, and make 6 successful. 7 and 8 would be successful. We wouldn't have all these kids in Jumpstart can't go to a college or a university. That is my concern, and that's why I see it. We need to put your money in your mouth and make it roll. We worrying about transportation. Let's educate somebody.
Anyone else?
I want to start off by saying that when the public hears me, I'm simply reiterating what I've said behind closed doors. We're coming from a $3 million mistake in the spring. We sought funds to fund a project through taxpayers due to athletics. However, when it was time to start the project, we realized that there wasn't enough money, so we had to dip in the reserve fund. The school board is the most important governing body in a community. We are responsible for making decisions for children who are too young to vote for us. They cannot elect us, but we are tasked with making decisions that shape their future. And this responsibility is something that I don't take lightly. Leadership at the central office has failed us. Let's examine the process. Who was responsible and who was involved in the decision-making regarding school board members? Which committee made this recommendation? Were there a series of meetings? Who attended them? I'm being asked to vote for something that's rushed and poorly explained at the last minute, and I have an issue with that. Governing bodies throughout the parish, when seeking taxpayers' approval, they hold town hall meetings, they have task force, they engage community leaders, and they develop plans, not just one survey. So why does the central office leadership believe that we need to involve all taxpayers? Why do we even need a school board if the leadership is making all the decisions? After this process, I still try to remain open-minded. And so I invited someone who's homegrown here, who I respect their accomplishments, his accomplishments, and to give some insights. This individual, he was educated here in Lincoln Parish. He retired from one of the top performing school systems in the state of Louisiana. And he had many questions to raise about the process. So I am deeply concerned about our central office leadership with creating division in our community. When I first joined the board, we ranked second in the state. Now we are tied with 4 other school systems at 10th place. As an educator and a researcher, I find this process to be insulting. As an educator, my primary focus is student achievement and closing the achievement gaps and the opportunity gaps, and not just educating the select few students. As a researcher, I question how the central office leadership can base such important decisions on one single survey. Survey results can be manipulated to support any desired outcome that you want. We must educate caution and make critical decisions based on many different approaches. Given these uncertainties, I am voting no. I believe every community member should be involved in the decision-making process. We must listen not only to those who are vocal, but listen to the traditional voiceless in our community. Taxpayers, not a select few, should shape this plan, and my commitment is prioritizing student achievement and remain unwavering in every decision that I do. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good question.
I'll take that as a comment in the form of a question.
Good question.
Miss Linda, did you want to make a comment? Is that what you said? Yes, ma'am.
Survey. The survey, first of all, it was an online survey, and that in and of itself eliminates many people. Many people in particular areas don't even have access to internet. The next thing about the survey, I'm wondering, as I see it, no random sampling was represented. It was only responded to by volunteers. And of course, if I were supportive of the plan, I would certainly vote for it. So I suppose parents particularly who are in favor of the transitions because they are affected would come in numbers to vote for it. But what about parents or residents who don't even have children in the schools, but they pay taxes and support these schools? So I actually feel that that survey is strictly biased.
Ms. Linda?
I'm Linda Henderson, 9th District.
I'm Linda Henderson, 9th District Board Member, and this was very hard for me because I didn't hear from anybody for a long time in my district which way they wanted to go. Because I had it in my mind all the time one way, because the way I felt about when I came on the school board. When I started in 2004, and right afterwards, they changed the system where we're to where we are now, with the schools going, the early grades going to one school and this one, which I promoted. So I could not understand why we wanted to do this, because I didn't go to, I don't want to bring my personal things in, but I'm originally from Michigan, and I didn't go to a social, economic deprived school. I didn't go to a racial divided school. So I don't know anything about that. The school that I went to was very balanced, and I think my education was, very good, and I was in the top 10 of my class. And in college, I was in higher, and I did fine. So it just hurt me. And I want Ruston and Lincoln Parish, I want the best for them. I want the best for every student. So I talked to my husband, and he was telling me, he said, Linda, he says, you represent the 9th District. You represent that school, Ruston Elementary, that's in your school, in your district. Ruston Elementary is going to be affected more than any other school. So I came to the conclusion after that. I said, okay, that's my answer right there. No matter what my feelings are, I've got to go and I've got to vote no. So I'm sorry, but I've got to go with what I feel is right. For my people, for Ruston Elementary to exceed, because I'm worried about it. I don't want them to have rejects. I don't want them to end up being an F school, because that's a bad thing on Ruston, on Lincoln Parish. And that can hurt you bad. That can hurt our businesses. I'm a business person. I want everything to move forward. So I want Ruston Elementary to we're going to do, if we go with this plan, we got to really think what we're going to do to make that school stay high and to move forward. So that's all I have to say.
Anyone else?
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Linda.
Thank you, Ms. Linda. First of all, Ms. Linda made a valid point. She's from Michigan originally, but she's fully invested in this community. I've listened to my colleagues around this table, and I'm going to take exception. My colleague who sits to my left, Ms. Debbie Abrams, is an educator, but she can speak to what she's done. So first of all, it would be presumptuous of anyone, in my opinion. I had a conversation before we came in here with the president of my board. Did we not, sir? Did we have a conversation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. We're not going to get into some details. Let's be honest about what we're talking about here. I'm an African American, and like Ms. Linda, who speaks to Ruston Elementary, this is my school. This lady, what's your name, ma'am? I'm George Mack Jr. We were the first graduating class from this school in 1964. And I see some of my classmates who may or may not agree with me. Have we not talked about true facts and opinions? My vice president, she's the executive director. I mean, she's the chairman of the executive board. I sit on that board. My colleague here, he chairs long-range planning. I'm a city planner, for God's sakes. When we talk about boundaries, and y'all hear my tone, what do I say? Don't listen to my tone. Understand my conviction and my commitment to what it is we're trying to do. Nobody can tell me about I.A. Lewis. This man, my colleague, was a principal of I.A. Lewis. Now, my colleagues who may or may not be here, but I see one of my classmates, I'm not going to speak for him, but I can simply say it is disingenuous for any member in this room to presuppose that any of my colleagues, and I'll save my best for last. I spoke to Dr. Leah's wife. I'm not going to necessarily say what we talked about, but what I will say is that one of the speakers who got up here, and he knows who he is, and we spoke last night. Now, whether or not that person wants to denigrate what we as a board are trying to do, to say that we would be disingenuous, regardless of color, and I'm an I.A. Lewis graduate? Are you friggin' kidding me? Now, let's talk about what we do know. This man, who's my colleague, chairs long-range planning. I won't ever tell David Ferguson about education administration. I see it as a subset of public policy. Well, heck, I see Doctor, and she knows who she is. Mrs. Jimmy Jameson, in my opinion, one of the foremost educators. And I want to put you on the spot. I'm saying I got friends. I've had the benefit of having PhD teachers. Nobody has to tell me about a quality education for a quality life. And I'm going to say it. And if y'all want to disagree with me, so be it. It's unfair, in my opinion. See, now we're talking about opinions. I talked to Danielle. Here's what I'm saying. When I came on this board, she wasn't there. Let's talk about what we do know. I have the utmost respect for her. She still wasn't there. What I will say, in 2021, when Mr. Durrett was educated, if you want to quote me on it, here, there we are. It is disingenuous, in my opinion, to assume, and I'm one of us. Now, we're going to be gone, and there will be a new board coming in. Okay, hey, everybody had their chance. Now it's my time. There was a vote taken. 8 to 3, Mr. Anderson was not there, to defer this until December. Yes or no, Mr. President?
No, sir. It was 8 to 3 to vote on it in November.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Yes, sir.
Let me restate it.
Thank you.
That was a vote taken, and I have it on my phone. And I spoke to my superintendent, let me start at the beginning, about whether or not we could do it in November or December. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, fine. I tell people, let's talk about what we do know. A distinguished educator, J.K. Haynes, says there are truths, there are facts, and opinions. Now, I've heard a lot of opinions here today, but I haven't heard a lot of truths. Half-truth innuendos, what the hell it is. I took English too. I made A in that course, and mine was graduate school. Now, what I say to people is, don't leave, sir, because I want to address your comment before you leave. Okay, you can go. What the heck? It is what it is. Vita Brown, it's my time. I listen to everybody else. I'm only asking for fairness. My father served 40 years in this darn board. I'm just in year 14, and I'm going to be gone. Even if it were not, but there's a gentleman in this room, I won't say who he is, he knows who he is. Otherwise, I'll just call you out. I don't believe in half-truths. Dr. Haynes says there are truths, there are facts, and opinions. All truths are facts. All facts may or may not be true. And then there are opinions. So today I've heard a lot of opinions. I agree with Ms. Linda. When it came to vote, Mr. Superintendent, I asked if we could defer it maybe to December. But I also, so he nodded, so let's assume that's an affirmation of yes. I also said to my president today, again, I'm gonna go back and say, just for confirmation, I tell people, I don't believe people are gonna believe anyway. It's okay. That's why we have opinions. The Constitution of the United States. I just happen to study it, that's neither here nor there. Mr. President, once again, before we had this meeting, did I and you have a conversation about the things we could probably discuss here today?
Yes, sir.
Because we don't want any misunderstanding, and the whole intent was to have the public be informed and not to appear that this board had some devious methodology to not inform the public. That's bogus. And it's insulting to me personally. Now, when my colleague talks about what insults her, I'm not going to get into. I respect her opinion. I categorically disagree. Now, if she wants to ask me why, I'll tell her. But I'm going to say this to y'all. I'm going to say it again. I was on this friggin' board before she got here. And I was on this board before David Ferguson got here. So it's insulting to me personally to think that my colleagues, I'm not defending anybody, we're all adults here, so let's put on our big boy pants. There's nothing I can tell this man about education. I will say this though. Let's talk about the truth. He was the principal of this school. He was not my principal at this school. Now, for those people who were with me when we first came, I'm just going to say it again as succinctly as I can. And I see one of my colleagues in the room. Now, if he wants to have something to say, he can speak for himself. But I'm going to tell the truth. This man was not my principal, and we were the first graduating class of this school. So nobody has to tell me about separate but equal. Dr. White makes a good point, but I spoke to her, and I'm happy that she came. But if anybody wants to believe that any member of this board is not concerned about the children, that's insulting. I won't speak for them. It's insulting to me, and I am a teacher too. This man, my colleague Hunter Smith, he sits on long-range planning. And Miss Linda always tells me, you can't wrap this up in 2 minutes. This school goes back to 1964. We know why it was. There's a gentleman in this room who served with my father. I won't call him his name. He knows who he is. I will say he was the chairman of a committee that my father worked on. I think he's a distinguished fellow. He's a fair man, and he chaired Building and Grounds before my colleague Danny Hancock did. If we want to know the truth, let's be truthful. Let's not have any half-truths. There is no way that any member of my colleagues who I've had the pleasure of serving with since 2012, I respect Dr. Danielle. She wasn't on the board when I got here. Nor was David Ferguson. If we're going to talk about truth, let's be truthful. Otherwise, it's a friggin' waste of time. Now, here's what I'm saying, and it's my time. I listen to everybody patiently, and I always say to my president, let's be fair. Right, Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then let's be fair. So it's my time now, and I'm going to wrap this up. Hold on a second. I listen to everybody else, so I expect the same privilege or courtesy. Give me the same courtesy that I extended to everybody else. Otherwise, that would be unfair. So let me have my say. And this is going to be the last time I say it. But don't rush me. So when people tell me whatever, I'm just saying, I'm looking at you, but I'm not going to call you out. When that vote was taken in 2018, there was a gentleman who chaired Building and Grounds. And I said it to his son. I had a chance to vote that night when we declared the system unitary. My father asked me a long time ago, what's the problem? Heck, Dad, y'all ain't unitary. What the heck are we gonna do about it, boy? I don't know, sir, I voted for you. So I was not a school board member then. But in 2018, there's a distinguished man, in my opinion, see now I'm giving my opinion. When I was there that night, and Danielle was not on that board, when we took that vote, and I said to my father years before, y'all ain't unitary, and Judge James ain't going for that. And I hear what I hear today about the potential of my colleagues, and this is a diverse board, just like IE Lewis is a diverse school. Nobody can tell me any different, and I'll just say this, my president can speak for himself, but here's what I'm gonna say. I've heard unfair attacks on Ricky Durrett that has no basis in truth. Why? Because they're false. Now, if you want to blame somebody, I don't personally care how you feel about what I'm saying or not. Here's what I'm saying. J.K. Haynes was right, and he was a principal at Lincoln High School. And nobody has to tell me about the history of IE Lewis, for God's sakes. I'm going to say it again. I was in the first graduating class of this freaking school. Now, that being said, I aged myself. It's okay. I'm glad to see the president of the NAACP. I'm glad to see Mr. Walker. There are people, and this lady knows who she is. She'll say, Mr. Matt called me. The idea is to get informed. Now, if y'all want to know the truth, then take the time to learn the truth. There are opinions, as Dr. Haynes said, and I asked him a long time ago, tell me about opinions. But I won't say what he said, because it may get misunderstood. I know what it means. There are truths, there are facts, and there are opinions. And there's a gentleman who I just spoke to last night. He knows how long we stayed on the friggin' phone. And he's in this room right now.
Wrap it up.
Thank you, Miss Linda. Here's what I'm saying. When this vote was taken to defer, I'm going to say it again, Mr. Superintendent, did we not talk about that? About deferring?
Talked about having it November or December, yes.
Yes, he did. See, at least that's an extension of time. I'm a planner. You don't rush things. We consider all friggin' alternatives. Even if the one, I won't speak for Hunter Smith, he chairs long-range planning. I'm saying I'm a long-range planner. So obviously, I'm not going to insult David Ferguson about education. But if you want to talk about long-range planning, now you're in my element. So let's get the facts straight. And what I've heard a lot today is anything but thereof. And it's painful to hear. Y'all just heard Ms. Linda. We're going to maintain IE Lewis. It's in my friggin' district. Why would I not support something of a school I not only attended, but I will fight, even when I'm not a member of this board, to maintain the school I graduated from, which is this school, which is now chaired by this distinguished man sitting right there with a long tie. How can y'all believe that the educators on this board, like my colleague here, or my current chairman, or my former chairman of Building and Grounds, that my father chaired? My father missed one meeting in 40 friggin' years. I've missed 4. 2 because I was sick in January and February, and here the heck we are. And my friend who came to this meeting today, Ms. Linda, whose husband I have to write up. So no, I'm saying to you guys, if you're gonna be truthful about it, lay the heck off or do the research. And don't be disingenuous. And Ricky Dewart works for us. We're the friggin' board. He works for us. And every time I hear the superintendent ain't doing this. Now what I've said to David Ferguson, and he may or may not remember, it's okay. Heck, I'll remember because I was there that night in 2021. Danny Hancock, did we not talk about that? Okay, see, I'm not trying to impress nobody. What I am saying, if you're gonna be truthful, be truthful. Dr. Haynes again was right, I'm gonna say it for the last time. There are truths, there are facts and opinions. All truths are facts, all facts may or not be, and then there are opinions. Now, here's my opinion. Vida Brown said what she said, and she's still in the room, I think. What she said in 2021, I was there. David Ferguson said what he said that night. I was there. And then there was my colleague, Hunter Smith, who was advocating for fairness and equity. But he can speak for himself. It still doesn't change the reality that I was there. Now, I hope you people understand, and people get on me when I say you people. I don't mean any harm by it. What I'm saying is, this time next year, come 2027, and I said it to a fellow last night. Now, if he wants to deny it, I'm gonna call him out. I won't call his name. That's me being fair. I'm a fair kind of guy. But when, yes ma'am, Miss Linda. But I've heard mistruths, I've heard innuendo, and I've heard my colleagues be insulted. I'm not gonna speak for my colleagues. I'll just speak for myself. I graduated from this school. I wasn't the only one. I'm saying we were the first one though. So if people can't make that claim, I may or may not be the one. But my father said what he said that day in church about his oldest son. That would be me. Either way, I was there in 2021, the night we took that vote where one of our colleagues changed and we elected Mr. Dewar. But what I have heard is people getting on this guy, the superintendent, without any truth in what they're saying. That's unfair. If you're gonna be truthful, then do the friggin' research and get the facts right. That's what I hear everybody saying. And I spoke to Miss Dr. White. But Ms. Linda keeps reminding me to wrap it up. So in deference to Ms. Linda and what she says, my colleagues are trying to be fair here. We were in these meetings. Dr. Williams was not the only one in those meetings, or David Ferguson. Heck, I was in those meetings too. Was I not editing? Okay, fine. We want to do this right. I listened to Ms. White. She made good points. My friend Pastor Flukas, excellent points. But there was a gentleman I talked to last night. Okay, Ms. Linda. Mr. President, I yield back.
Thank you. Okay. So, I will, at this point, we have a motion on the floor and a second. So, all in favor of approving the plan as presented in section 7.1, please raise your right hand.
Mr. President, before we take that vote, could we do, may I have the opportunity, or is it too late to do a substitute motion?
You can request such.
Mr. President, may I request a...
Lewis, that's Mr. Jones.
What?
That's Mr. Lewis Jones.
Mr. Lewis, given where we are, am I allowed to put in a substitute motion or no?
No, sir. There's a motion, second, it needs to be voted on.
Thank you.
All right. So there's a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor, say right hand up, please, high, so we can get a fair count, if I could. The motion was taken before the public comment.
Mr. President, there's a motion, second.
Yes, ma'am. All in favor, would you please raise your right hand so we can get a fair count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The matter passes. Thank you.
Let the record show, I voted my deal, L to the no.
Let the record show. Would you like to vote no? Would it be fair to vote no? So those who would like to, would it be fair?
Oh, whatever.
So the absent board members' votes being considered today?
No.
And if so, will you disclose their voting decision?
They will not take a vote. The missing members. Okay, let's move on to item number 7.2. Mr. Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. The following policy revisions are being recommended due to outcomes of the regular session. Thank you, Mr. Phillips. The following policy revisions are being recommended due to outcomes of the regular session of the Louisiana Legislature. We have 6 revisions. DFM, sale of surplus equipment and supplies, Act 161, updates current policy regarding our items declared surplus and disposed of. GAAA, Equal Employment Opportunity, Act 100, adds military status to the list of prohibited discriminations. Also, JAA, Equal Education Opportunity, adds military status to the list of prohibited discriminations. IDDF, Education of Students with Exceptionalities, Act 479, updates inclusion and restraint procedures. IDDFC, cameras in special education classrooms. Act 479 addresses cameras in special education rooms. And JD Discipline, Act 439 adds school employees to the list of people who may take disciplinary action to correct the student who violates school rules or interferes with the orderly education process. This is going to have a study period, so we are not going to take any action on it today. We just ask that the board reviews and we take action December 2nd. If there are any questions, please let me know.
Thank you, sir. All right, moving on to item number 7.3. Mr. Payton. The one in your hand you got to hold. Yes, sir.
Anyway, substantial completion means that the owner can use the building. 30-day lien period starts, which means that anybody who gets paid during the course of construction has an avenue to get their money without suing somebody. Of course, the warranty starts. So, with regards to sand work, construction project there, the work is complete. My recommendation to the board is to authorize the district administration to proceed with the substantial completion documents.
Thank you. We have a request that we approve the substantial completion for Ruston High School security improvements. So moved by Hunter Smith, second by Debbie Abrams. Any comments from the public?
Okay, we'll got one more, we got Ruston High.
Okay.
Same thing.
We got to vote on this one first, if we will, real quick. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Go ahead, Mr. Payton.
Okay, the security work at Ruston High is complete, and the same recommendation to the board is to give the district administration the right to proceed with substantial completion documents for that project at Ruston High.
All right, so we have a request that we execute the substantial completion for Simsboro School Construction Project. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe Mitchum. Any comments from the public? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Miss Juanita Duke, we need to approve guidelines for the certified and support staff stipends.
Thank you. You have the guidelines for distribution of the 2025 certified and support staff stipends. These were funded by the 2025 state legislature, and those guidelines are attached. Recommendations for that payment to be made on December the 10th for all employees on record as of November the 14th. The amounts, this will actually be distributed to all employees who are eligible, that being full-time certified staff, an amount of $2,000, full-time support staff, $1,000, and even part-time support staff. Recommendation is for the board to approve the guidelines and the distribution can be made on December the 10th.
Okay. Do I have a motion that we approve those guidelines?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Hancock. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by, I'll give that one to Joe Mitchum. Any questions or feedback from the board? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Any opposed say no. Okay, so let's move on now to the hearing procedures. Mr. Young.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. As required by Louisiana Revised Statute 17-443, 444, and 493, school districts are required to adopt and maintain procedures when disciplinary action is contemplated against certain employees. Districts also required to approve a list of DHOs and disciplinary hearing officers who are qualified to serve in that capacity. We have prepared a list of officers who can serve in this role and also the accompanying procedures. And we ask that the board approve these two today.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion that we approve those procedures?
So moved.
So moved by Ms. Linda Henderson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Thank you very much. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no? Seeing none. Okay. Justin Barron, if you would.
Sorry, we're trying to play a mic. Okay, so every year we're required to report to the board the status of crisis plans, and so essentially that's what I'm here to do today, is to just tell you where we stand as it relates to our crisis management plans. So just real quick, and I think everybody has a handout in your portfolio, but just wanted to give you guys a quick run through. So every school's crisis plan is reviewed annually. Those have been updated this year. In addition to that, we monthly go through drills, go through a handful of drills at the beginning of the school year within the first 30 days, and those have been conducted as well. And we coordinate those drills along with local law enforcement, sheriff's department, fire department, anybody who may be important to that particular drill. We've also done a good bit of work with Lincoln Parish Office of Homeland Security, and just to make sure that we're coordinated with those other agencies. In addition to that, we're doing a few other things that are kind of outside of what we would traditionally consider a crisis plan, but all these pieces work together, and so I just kind of want to tell you briefly about those things. So we've worked with the state on implementing a behavioral threat assessment and management BTAM implementation, and basically what that is it's a process by which we screen students as necessary to determine whether or not there are, and I say student situations, to determine whether or not there are any threats. There's There's actually a platform that we're working with the State Department with in terms of implementation that'll help us better utilize that data to keep our schools safer. And so I just kind of want to tell you a little bit about that. We've also done a little bit of work on cardiac emergency plans. This is a requirement per the legislature. So we've built those plans out. We're also doing some things along with that in terms of getting folks certified in CPR, making sure that we have AEDs in the places that we need them, making sure that they're maintained and up to date and work like they're supposed to. And then we're also including these things or the elements of those particular plans in overall crisis planning. So again, we've established cardiac emergency response plans. We've also done enhanced some school security on a couple of different campuses in the last year. So controlled access, thanks to I think some grant money at Ruston High School. I don't know if you guys have been able to see that, but it definitely makes the front entrance to Ruston High School more secure. Also, I think over the next couple of months, we'll be doing some fencing upgrades here at IA Lewis, and we've also done that at Ruston High School last year. And then we've implemented the body scanners that were passed. You guys passed. I guess it was last year, but we've implemented those at Ruston Junior High and Ruston High as well, and those seem to be working well. Like I said earlier, we are collaborating with the Lincoln Parish Office of Homeland Security just to make sure that everything's coordinated like it needs to be. All the agencies are working well together, and we also do a little bit of work with them in terms of communication. And I won't get into all the detail, but just to make sure that if something happens, the right people know and they have access to the right information at the right time. So anyway, again, I just wanted to provide you guys with a quick update on crisis plans, just to give you guys the information you need. If you have any questions about that, feel free to check with me later if you got any questions.
So I got a question. The CPI that y'all do, is it district-wide? Is it like a plan district-wide, or do you do individual campuses? How you do that?
So we do district-wide. We actually don't use we've used CPI in the past. In fact, this is the first school year where we've transitioned to a different organization. Safety Care, it seems to be a little bit more comprehensive, provide some de-escalation strategies, and so we've shifted to that group this year. Okay. But yeah, it's district-wide.
Okay.
Anything else?
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Lewis? Dr. Lewis? Thank you. Ms. Duke.
Yes, we have 3 financial reports for you. The sales tax collections for the month of October 2025 is up about 10% compared to this month last year. Overall collections for the first 4 months of the year is up about 8.3% compared year-over-year. For our monthly financial reports for the general fund, total extended budget expenditures is about 17.2%. Total collections for revenues at 20.1%. In our special revenue funds, total expenditures and budget is about approximately 14.1%, and revenues collected approximately 7%. In our health financial report through the calendar year through September 30th, we have a total contributions to the plan itself of $13.2 million, total plan expenditures of $12.2 million. We are seeing an increase in claims in this last half of the year. On average, monthly claims are approximately $992,000 per month that we pay out of the plan funds. For the month of September, claims is approximately $1.3 million that was paid out. So we're just going to continue to watch that. So far, total plan expenditures are approximately $529,000 less than they were the plan year at this time last year. And that's it.
Thank you very much. Okay, so at this time, In the agenda, the board is going to recuse itself to go into executive session to deal with some matters that need to be done there. So at the end of this time, we will come back only for the superintendent report, and then any observations, reports, and then an adjournment. So this will pretty much conclude the meeting at this time, but we are still, we're going to step out and go to another room in the back here where we had lunch. So board members, if you would. Yes, sir. Thank you very much for that.
And I'd recommend a roll call, or if you do it by show of hands and answer, just make minutes reflective because of 2/3 vote.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I would take a motion then that we would enter executive session.
I make the motion that we enter executive session.
Thank you, Hunter. Do I have a second?
Second by Danny.
Danny Hancock. Okay, do you want to do a roll call vote for that?
Yes.
Linda Henderson.
Yes.
Hunter Smith.
Yes.
Osa Andrews is absent. George Mack.
Yes.
Debbie Abram. Yes. Danny Hancock.
Yes.
Donna Dawes.
Yes.
Danielle Williams. Yes. David Ferguson. Clark Canterbury. Greg Phillips.
Yes.
Joe Mitchell.
Yes.
Thank you. Out of executive session.
I make a motion.
For the business that was discussed.
I make the motion that we move forward with the recommendation by legal counsel that was provided to us during executive session.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. A second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Mr. Superintendent.
Just real quick, we do expect the school performance score, district performance scores to come out sometime between now and Thanksgiving. So we'll be getting those out and sharing with everyone as soon as we get them. And then Thanksgiving holidays coming up, but that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Anybody else?
Make motion we adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor say aye.